Mar del Plata is a city on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, in Buenos Aires province, Argentina. It is the seat of General Pueyrredón district. Mar del Plata is the second largest city in Buenos Aires province. The name Mar del Plata is a shortening of Mar del Rio de la Plata, and has the meaning of Sea of the Rio de la Plata Basin, or adjoining sea to the River Plate region. Mar del Plata is one of the major fishing ports, and the biggest seaside beach resort in Argentina. With a population of 682,605 as per the 2022 census, it is the fifth largest city in Argentina. Pre-Spanish era, the region was inhabited by Galunakina nomads, also known as Northern Tehuelches. They were later, after the 11th century, strongly influenced by the Mapuche culture. 1577 to 1857, first European explorers. Sir Francis Drake made a reconnaissance of the coast and its sea lion colonies. Don Juan de Garay explored the area by land a few years later, in 1581. In 1742, during the War of Jenkins Ear, 8 survivors of HMS Wager, part of Admiral Anson expedition and led by midshipman Isaac Morris, -1 through a 10-month ordeal before being decimated and captured by the Tehuelches, who eventually handed them to the Spaniards. After holding the Englishmen as prisoners, they returned Morris and his surviving companions to London in 1746. First colonization attempt by Jesuit order near Laguna de los Padres ended in disaster 1751. 1857 to 1874, the Portuguese entrepreneur José Coelho de Mairelles, taking advantage of the country's abundance of wild cattle, built a pier and a factory for salted meat near Cabo Corrientes, but the business only lasted a few years. 1870 to 1886, Patricio Peralta Ramos acquired the now abandoned factory along with the surrounding terrain, and founded the town on February 10, 1874. Basque rancher Pedro Luro bought a part of Peralta Ramos' land for agricultural production. First docks also erected around this time. 1886 to 1911, the railway line from Buenos Aires, built by the Buenos Aires Great Southern, reached Mar del Plata in 1886. The first hotels started their activity. The upper-class people from Buenos Aires became the first tourists of the newborn village. They also established a local government that reflected their conservative ideals, build-up of a French-style resort. On the 19th of July 1907, the provincial legislature approved a bill that declared Mar del Plata as a city. 1911 to 1930, the residents, mostly newly arrived emigrants from Europe, demanded and obtained the control of the municipality administration. The socialists were the mainstream political force in this period, carrying out social reforms and public investment. The main port was also built and inaugurated in 1916. 1930 to 1946, a military coup reinstated the conservative hegemony in politics through electoral fraud and corruption, but at local levels they were quite progressive, their policies viewed in some way as a continuity of the socialist trend. In 1932, the construction of National Route 2 was completed, which connected Mar del Plata to Buenos Aires. Before this, a dirt road connected Mar del Plata to Buenos Aires using a different route, required almost 2 days to travel by car. The seaside casino complex, opened in 1939, was designed by architect Alejandro Bustillo. Dates from this period: 1946 to 1955, birth of the Peronist movement, a coalition between socialists and radicals defeated this new party by a narrow margin in Mar del Plata. But by 1948, Peronism came to dominate the local administration. The massive tourism, triggered by the welfare politics of Peron and the surge of the middle class, marked a huge growth in the city's economy. 1955 to 1970. After the fall of Peron, the socialists regained the upper hand in local politics. The city reached the peak in activities like construction business and building industry. There was massive emigration from other regions of Argentina. 1970 to 1989, slight decline of tourism demand, counterbalanced by the increase of other industries, such as fishing and machinery. General infrastructure renewal under the military rule. The centrist Radical Civic Union becomes the main political force after the return of democracy in 1983. 1989 to 2010. Though the Peronism replaced the radicals in central government amid a national financial crisis, the latter party continued to rule in Mar del Plata. Some resurgence of mass tourism in the early 90s was followed by a deep social crisis in town, with an increase of poverty, jobless rates and emigration. By contrast, the first decade of the 21st century shows an amazingly quick recovery in all sectors of the ailing economy. In November 2005, the city hosted the 4th Summit of the Americas. Mar del Plata is the most popular destination for conventions in Argentina after Buenos Aires. Mar del Plata has a wide range of services in this sector. The summer season hosts over 50 theatrical plays, shows and festivals. The Mar del Plata International Film Festival, the only A-class accredited film festival in Latin America. The Fiesta Nacional del Mar National Sea Festival, with the election and coronation of the Sea Queen and her princesses, which takes place in December as the official inauguration of the summer season. The Premios Estrella de Mar Sea Star Awards, which honor the best stage plays and shows of the season. The Valencian Fails Week, a local reenactment of the Valencian event conducted by the Valencian community. The Mar del Plata Fashion Show, along with a number of fashion parades that gathers the best haute couture designers. The Fiesta Nacional de los Pescadores National Fishermen's Festival, a colorful display of seafarers' tradition and cuisine. Mar del Plata has also hosted the 1995 Pan American Games, the 2001 Rugby World Cup Sevens, the 2003 Para-Pan American Games, the 2005 FIBA Under-21 World Championship, and co-hosted the 1978 FIFA World Cup and the 2001 FIFA World Youth Championship. Since 1987, Mar del Plata annually hosts the Mar del Plata Marathon in early December. The 38th and 53rd International Mathematical Olympiad was held in Mar del Plata in 1997 and 2012. The Festival Internacional de Poesia del Atlántico International Poetry Festival of the Atlantic is an international poetry festival. It began in 2013 and for its second edition, in 2014, it gathered more than 210 poets from Argentina, Uruguay, Mexico, Uruguay, Chile, Peru and Cuba. It's part of the Movimiento Poético Mundial World Poetry Movement. The Prosemutund is a cycle of literary experiences and arts collective established in January 2013 that takes place since then every Thursday from 20 o'clock at Piano Bar, in which stage over 100 local, national and international artists have performed. The local government sponsors a symphonic orchestra. Nightlife. Mar del Plata has a wide variety of clubs located by district. The area of Escalera Norte known for its quantity of pubs and nightclubs and Constitution Avenue. Museums. The Juan Carlos Costagnino Municipal Museum of Art, the Museum of the Port of Mar del Plata Cleto Churchini, the Museum of Contemporary Art Mar, the Museum of Natural Science Lorenzo Scaglia, specialized in paleontology of the quaternary species around the region, the Mar del Plata Museum of the Sea, which included one of the most complete collections of sea snails of the world. The museum has been closed to the public since September 2012. Villa Victoria, a vintage wooden house, the former residence of the late writer Victoria Ocampo, now a place for art expositions and classical music. The Submarine Force Museum, located close to the Mar del Plata Naval Base. The development of the city as a seasonal summer resort in the early 20th century led upper-class tourists from Buenos Aires to build a European-inspired architecture based mainly on the picturesque and later on the Art Deco styles. This gave Mar del Plata the nickname of the Argentine Biarritz. The building industry became the main non-seasonal activity of the town by 1920. During the 1930s, 1940s, and beyond, local architects and builders like Oro Ribelli, Arturo Lemmi, Alberto Casico Piccolini, and Raul Camuso recreated and transformed the picturesque values into a middle-class scale, marking the beginning of a vernacular architecture called Mar del Plata style, consisting in small samples of the luxury-laden summer residences of high society, built for the summer visitor as well as for the local resident. These chalets were built with stone fachadas, gable roofs covered with Spanish or French tiles, prominent eaves and front porches. This gives the town some distinctive urban character compared with other Argentine cities, despite the fact that the growing mass of tourists in the 60s imposed the construction of large apartment buildings and skyscrapers as the predominant architectural style downtown. Mar del Plata has an oceanic climate CFB, according to the Köppen climate classification, with humid and moderate summers and relatively cool winters, although polar air masses from Antarctica are frequent. The average daily mean temperature in January is 20.4 C69F. It is 7.5 C45 degrees Fahrenheit in July. The west-southwest winds can take the temperature below 0 C32 degrees Fahrenheit between mid-May and early October, while the southeast ones, the so-called sudestada, are stronger, producing coastal showers and rough seas as well as strong squalls, but the cold is much less intense. There is fog in the last days of fall, and springtime is often marred by sea winds and sudden temperature changes. The city's summer maximum temperatures fluctuate broadly around the average of 26 Celsius 79 F, while there are many days between 30 Celsius 86 F and 35 Celsius 95 F, although less than in other areas of the Pampas region. Strong onshore or southerly winds can also keep temperatures closer to 20 C 68 F, and nights can sometimes be very cool, even in midsummer, falling below 10 C 50 F sometimes. However, the summer nights are usually cool to pleasant, with values between 12 Celsius 50 for F to 16 C 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Traditionally, Easter is seen as the last weekend to go to the beach on the Argentine Atlantic coast, and average maximum temperatures are around 20 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit at that time. while some years can have the last few days of about 30 C 86 degrees Fahrenheit around that time. It is also possible to experience daily highs of 15 Celsius 59 F. Winter temperatures average 13 C 55 degrees Fahrenheit during the day and for Celsius 39 F at night. They sometimes climb to 20 to Celsius 72 degrees Fahrenheit, especially in August. But there are also days where highs stay below 6 C 43 F and temperatures fall some degrees below 0 C 32 F at night. Spring brings the most variable weather, with heat waves bringing highs of more than 30 Celsius 86 F followed by highs of 10 Celsius 50 F to 15 C 59 degrees Fahrenheit and perhaps a late season frosty night, all perfectly possible in October and November. There are about 6 days of frost each year in the city center, and almost 27 recorded at the airport. The average dates for the first and last frost are May 23rd and October 4th respectively. Snowfall is not uncommon, but snow accumulation on the ground is rare, a phenomenon that takes place every 6 years or so, according to the last 40 years of data. Among the best-known such occurrences in the last decades were the 1975 and 1991 snowstorms, but there were also snow accumulations in 1994 and 1997 in the highest hills area of Sierra de los Padres, in 1995 along the southern coast, the other two during the first hours of July 10, 2004 and July 15, 2010, and again in Sierra de los Padres and the southern coast on September 11, 2015. There were flurries in September 1986, June 2007, July 2011, and August 2013. The record high is 40.2 for C 108 degrees Fahrenheit on January 14, 2022, while the record low is 9.3 C 15 F on July 6, 1988. The wet season occurs between October and April, especially in summer December to March, with values over 90 mm, 3.5 in each of those months. The average annual rainfall is 926, 1 mm 36 in.
If you liked the video, you would help me a lot by giving it a like and subscribing to the channel to receive more videos like this. Subscribing is free and helps a lot in carrying out this type of audio-visual projects that help discover amazing places and enjoy wonderful places for everyone's entertainment. Thank you very much for sharing and watching until the end.